Welcome back to Green Mountain Mornings on 100.3 FM and AM 1490. It is 8:21, 38 degrees. I'm your host, Olga Peters. Thank you for joining me this morning at this lovely chilly morning. I have in the studio with me Harmony Birch, and during the break we were talking about the Me Too Facebook meme. What would you call it?
I thought it was kind of like a campaign. I guess it would be a hashtag.
And just once again highlighting the prevalence of sexual harassment and how many people it impacts on a daily basis, and for some people a lifetime. So thank you, Harmony, for sharing that story with me. Getting back to the local community, there was a remembrance for Stanley Lynde on Saturday. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so ever since Stanley Lynde passed away, a bunch of people got their motorcycles on Saturday, and I'm not great at crowd counts, but to me it looked like 1,000 people, because you could just see the entire street filled with motorcycles. And they rode from here to Guilford, from Brattleboro to Guilford, to remember Stanley, because it was a path he really liked. And it was just amazing to see so many people gather around this one person. It was like young people and older people, and some people had known him for like 50 years, they said. A lot of his best friends met him when he was in high school because he was a cool guy riding a Harley, and that was the cool thing to do. And then a lot of people who were my age had been mentored by him. And it was just a really moving thing. And not everybody rode, but they would stand there, like family would stand and watch the motorcycles go by and just be there. And even the policemen, I didn't get a chance to talk to them, so I don't know if they knew Stanley personally, but it was just this incredible like moment of community.
The quotes you have from folks who remember him, I was very touched by the girlfriend who talked about Stanley and her boyfriend who wanted to learn how to ride motorcycles.
Yeah, so Samantha LeDuc, she used to work for Lynde's Motorsports, and her boyfriend Trevor went into the shop. He was looking to learn more about motorcycles, and he had gone to a couple of other shops, and they weren't as welcoming to him because he was young and inexperienced. And he went and saw Stanley, and it kind of like took over his life in the way LeDuc talks about it. She said he wasn't there because he's stationed overseas right now. Mm-hmm. But she said that Stanley was kind of like a grandfather or father figure to him. And apparently the first time he went in, he took 2 hours to go in, and she was waiting in the car, and then he comes out and he's just like beaming, and Stanley's there with him. And then after Trevor left to go overseas because he's in the Air Force, Samantha went in to Stanley's shop and was like, I need a job. And she was also kind of having a hard time because her boyfriend had just left and is now overseas. And she said that Stanley was really like kind of her rock and helped her, deal with the fact that she was now in this really long distance relationship. So she was really moved, and she wrote on the back of one of his good friends. I think it was either his friend Crude, I don't know his last name, but they call him Crude, mm-hmm. or Lou Leclerc. She wrote on the back of one of their motorcycles for the ride. This is actually funny. I don't think I wrote about this that much, but Dunkley met Stanley a while ago at his sister's wedding, and Stanley was one of the fourth graders at his sister's wedding who sang. And Dunkley says he doesn't remember how well Stanley sang or anything, but years later, he ended up owning the machine shop right next to Lynde Motorsports, and together they would meet each morning and eat donuts and drink coffee and just kind of talk. And I don't know, Dunkley he said that he didn't ever realize like how this little kid who was singing at his sister's wedding would later impact his life and become like one of his really good friends. So I don't know, it was really sweet.
It's all those small moments that add up to big ones. And the route to Guilford, where in Guilford did they end up?
I don't remember right now, and I don't think I wrote about it, so I can't actually tell you that. I'd have to go back and look at my notes.
But you said it was a path that Stanley liked to ride.
That's what his best friend, I've heard that this is his best friend from multiple sources, Crude, has said. Although Stanley had many friends, so I'm sure he had many best friends. But one of his good friends, Crude, said that this was a path that was very fond to him.
Wonderful. Thank you. And our thoughts at WKVT and hearts go out to the Lynde family and everyone who is feeling the pain of his loss today. So thank you, Harmony, for bringing that story to our attention. Just quickly, a slight change of pace. Tell me about the building that's for sale for $1.
Oh, okay. So there's a building in Chesterfield that's on sale for $1. It used to be the former town offices, and it's been vacant for about 9 years. The building has they've looked into selling it, but they thought that maybe there needed to be some repairs. There was an estimate thrown out there about $400,000. Some community members have come forth and since cleaned things a bit. It does need new plumbing and new electricity, and the floors are aesthetically a little bit unpleasing, so you would probably want to do that as well as maybe a paint job or new wallpaper. But a few community members came through, and they are really in belief that this building can be sold. On the 2018 Chesterfield meeting day, it might get demolished, so that's why it's being sold for $1. They really want to see it sold, and they believe that the repairs would be less than $400,000. And if you're interested in learning more about the building, you can go to an open house on Saturday for it, where they'll have information. It's really cool. There's a secret room within a room. Yeah.
Wow.
So that's fun. And there's like a little, kind of like a widow's walk, but it's on the second floor bedroom. And I don't know, it has a lot of really cool architectural features that are fun.
Oh, old buildings are amazing. So yes, if you're interested in buying a building for $1, attend the open house on Saturday. Good morning and welcome back to Green Mountain Mornings on WKVT 100.3 FM and AM 1490. It is 8:38 and 38 degrees outside. Once again, we have that nice little balance. And I'm your host, Olga Peters. I have in the studio with me Harmony Birch from The Reformer. Thank you, Harmony, for being here. And Harmony has just written a great article on a youth group who traveled to North Dakota, and they focused on suicide prevention.
Yeah, so it's a little bit convoluted, but a youth group goes to South Dakota every year to work at the Cheyenne River Reservation. And they go and they work at the reservation, and they hang out with a lot of the youths that are there. And one of the years recently that they went and there was the community was kind of reeling from a youth suicide. So one of the ladies that goes with the group is called Joellen Tarlow. I think that's how you pronounce her last name. And she is kind of spearheading this movement in Vermont called You Matter, which is a youth suicide prevention program for Vermont. And she looked into the reservation, and apparently there's a lot of youth suicide. There's really high youth suicide rates within there. So she gave the reservation materials from her program and kind of the program's curriculum, and they started to implement it there. So a lot of the youths at this reservation, I think 10 of them signed up for this program, and they committed to it for 8 weeks, and they ended up being more kind of engaged with their communities, and they ended up implementing some sort of job training program with their schools because that was something that they thought would benefit the youth community. And one of the teens who was in the program had actually been contemplating suicide. And while he was there in the program, he committed to not committing suicide. He checked off that he had all of the signs and the symptoms, and after doing the program, decided that taking his own life wasn't worth it. So it's kind of this big success story for You Matter, and it's kind of great for the Brattleboro area interfaith youth group, because they go and they work with these people every year, and it's interesting because the program is taking place here in Vermont, and a lot of the things that it does and it implements also kind of applies to Vermont. So, like the fact that even teens want to be a part of this, I think is quite frankly amazing. Mm-hmm. Having been a teenager not too long ago myself. But like talking to Tarala, one of the reasons she thinks that teens want to commit to this is because they care about their mental health. And the program itself is kind of designed to give kids more agency and make them to give them more strategies to kind of deal with all of these feelings that they're feeling, or to deal with anxiety or depression. And that in itself helps people feel more in control of their lives. And when people feel more in control, the theory is they're less likely to want to commit suicide. The youth group, though, does have some similar themes, it seems. Talking to Lisa Sparrow, she kind of is the head of it, and she goes with them on the trip every year as well. She says simply like going on these trips and helping other people out seems to make a lot of teens who may not be super happy with their lives at home feel more empowered. Like seeing and helping people who may be even more impoverished or maybe suffering with even bigger issues, it just helps them out, and it makes them feel as though they have more agency.
That's a really good insight. Thank you, Harmony. So if someone in the community is either interested in becoming involved with either You Matter or the youth group, or if someone is struggling with issues around suicide, is there someone they can contact? They can reach out to anyone?
They can definitely You Matter if you Google it. There's a bunch of different resources there for people, and you can find out what's being implemented locally. There's also a ton of suicide prevention hotlines that I should have included in my article, but I didn't. And if you want to go and be involved in the youth group, you can contact Lisa Sparrow. Her number is 802-257-2776, or you can email her at the Guilford Community Church. So,
thank you. Now, you've had a really busy week. You also did a piece on a 22-mile walk for veterans?
Yeah, okay, so that was Saturday. Yeah, so...
Boy, you had a very busy Saturday.
Yeah, there was like 5... I still have things to write from Saturday.
The life of a journalist. News never ends.
Yeah, so Saturday morning, a bunch of community members got together and they went on a 22-mile walk to kind of raise awareness for and raise money for veteran suicide prevention and raise awareness about veteran suicide. There's a statistic from 2012 that states that 22 veterans a day end up committing suicide.
Wow.
Yeah. We're on the suicide theme this morning. It's nice, cheery stuff.
We're on it because people need to know about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one of the people that heads this walk is Lauren Mabey, and she's actually the daughter of Representative Valerie Stewart, who I'm sure a lot of people know of because she's one of the Windham County representatives. And Lauren Mabey is in the military. She's stationed in Germany. She heard about the statistic and decided she needed to do something. So last year, they did the first walk, and now this year they're doing the second, and it's gotten more community members out and more people are kind of hearing about it. This walk was kind of special because they were remembering somebody who actually recently committed suicide who's from the Brattleboro community.
Mm.
Her name was Charlotte Marcy, and she committed suicide last year. She went to Brattleboro Union High School, and a lot of the people on the walk knew her, and those that didn't still kind of wanted to stand by her. And yeah, it's a good way, I guess, to get people to know that this is something that's going on. I should say that the statistic isn't any longer 22. I've seen one, I didn't do a ton of research on it, but I've seen one report from 2016, I believe, that it might be 20 now, 20 veterans a day. So the rate is going down. Talking to a lot of veterans, a lot of older veterans especially, they say that there's more services now for people coming back from war. And so maybe that's what's helping.
Thank you, Harmony. I think what these two pieces highlight for me is the importance. I mean, we kind of apologize sometimes in the news for bringing all the bad news to people and all the uncomfortable, icky subjects, as one of my editors used to say. But it's important that we talk about these things so that people don't have to deal with them in isolation. And unless we talk about them as a community, such things like suicide or sexual harassment or all these hard things that people go through, how do they get support unless they have a chance to talk about it and reach out for services or reach out to community members? So, yes, listening audience, it's hard, it's uncomfortable, but it's necessary. So thank you very much, Harmony. Any pieces you're working on this week or on your docket that people should know about?
Well, actually, another one of the things I went and checked out Saturday, the Academy School recently had they're now renovating this new natural playground, which is something I've never heard of before.
Yeah.
It's a playground that encourages imagination and tends to be built out of natural materials, so like logs and stones, large stones, and things like that. And they have it's pretty cool. It looks pretty fun. They have a mud pit going up, and yeah, like this log balance beams and a bunch of other cool things that are happening. They're making a pond in it, so that I will be writing about soon. Let's see, what else? Select board meetings, as everyone knows.
Yay. Yes, there's one in Brattleboro tonight. If anyone hasn't noticed, have me say it 3 or 4 times already. 6:15, yes, tonight in Brattleboro.
Yeah. Oh, Planned Parenthood is going to be doing something interesting near Halloween time, actually.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, they're hosting, they're going to be showcasing, it's not just Planned Parenthood, the Planned Parenthood Defenders Group, along with the Women's Action Team, and Vermont's for Reproductive Justice. I think I'm missing a word in there, but they're all coming together, and they're going to be showcasing a documentary at the Latches. So you'll see an article about that coming soon, and it's about, they're trying to raise money to make abortion more accessible in Brattleboro, because you can't actually get an abortion at the Brattleboro Planned Parenthood.
You can't?
No.
Oh.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, you have to go to Keene, which is a different state, so there's different rules. Or you have to go, I think they used to have one in Rutland, but it closed down.
Okay.
Or you have to go up north. It might be near Burlington, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
A lot of travel when you're making a hard decision.
Yes.
So thank you, Harmony. It's been wonderful to have you here, and I look forward to you returning in 2 weeks.
Yes.
Yes, Chris from The Reformer will be here next week. Until then, folks, Green Mountain Mornings will return after the break.